All glories to the same devotees. All glories also to the glories to Shri Guru and Shri Bhagavan, Krishna, Krishna, Shri Guru, Swami. Namaste Saraswati Devi Bhavani Charani Shri Krishna. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanande Namaste Saraswati Devi Bhavani Charani Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Paschatya Tishtani Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, studying from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 1, verse number 2. Dharma projita kaitavotra paramo nirmatsaranam satam vedyam vastavam atra vastu shivadam tapatrayor mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kimva Parer Ishvara Sadhyo Hridya Avarudhyate Prakritibhi Shushushubi Takshamat. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, His Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated, this Bhagavad Purana propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are pure in heart. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Sri Vyasadeva, is sufficient in itself for God realization. As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, he becomes attached to the Supreme Lord. Purport. Religion includes four primary subjects, namely pious activities, economic development, satisfaction of the senses, and finally liberation from material bondage. Irreligious life is a barbarous condition. Indeed, human life begins when religion begins. Eating, sleeping, faring, and mating are the four principles of animal life. These are common both to animals and the human beings. But religion is the extra function of the human being. Without religion, human life is no better than animal life. Therefore, in human societies, there is some form of religion which aims at self-realization and which makes reference to man's eternal relationship with God. In the lower stages of human civilization, there is always competition to lord it over the material nature. Or in other words, there is a continuous rivalry to satisfy the senses. Driven by such consciousness, man turns to religion. He thus performs pious activities or religious functions in order to gain something material. But if such material gains are obtainable in other ways, then so-called religion is neglected. This is the situation in modern civilization. Man is thriving economically, so at present he is not very interested in religion. Churches, mosques or temples are now practically vacant. Men are more interested in factories, shops and cinemas than in religious places which were erected by their forefathers. This practically proves that religion is performed for some economic gains. Economic gains are needed for sense gratification. Often, when one is baffled in the pursuit of sense gratification, he takes to salvation and tries to become one with the Supreme Lord. Consequently, all these states are simply different types of sense gratification. Okay, so this is a slightly large purport. We'll finish it all today, so we'll just take it in parts. आहार निद्रा भय मैथुनम च सामान्यम एतत् पशुभिः नराणाम् धर्मो हि तेषाम् अधिको विशेषो धर्मेण हीनः पशुभिः समानम्. Eating, sleeping, waiting, and defending. These are common needs for everyone. Every living entity has these four needs. Even the plants. Even the plants are mating. I don't know how they do it, but there is also some male and female in plants. So, ahar, nidra, bhay, maithun. And this is actually the standard of material happiness. Ahar, nidra, bhay, maithun. The whole social structure, so-called science, technology, politics, economics, literature, art, everything is only for satisfaction of these four desires. Dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesho. So dharma, or to know a higher truth, that is the only additional function which is available to human beings. So dharma hi tesham. So what is dharma really? That we are going to talk about later. Actually, the verse begins with that verse. Dharma projita kaitavo. The Srimad Bhagavatam kicks out all cheating religions. But before we go to cheating religion, we just try to understand what is religion in the first place. Religion means understanding who I am. Atato Brahma Jityasa. Who am I? Forget about all high philosophies, high religion, or high science technology. First, try to understand who you are. If you go to a university, you want to study science and technology, they'll take a basic aptitude test. Okay, sir, you want to become a nuclear physicist, but do you at least understand high school physics? No, if I don't understand that, what is the point in studying further? Or I'm not even qualified. So if there is no question of even knowing who I am, there is no question of religion altogether. So the religion means first of all understanding one's own real identity. Athato Brahma Jigyasa. I am the spirit soul. So this facility is available only to humans. Now, living entities are all within Maya, within this material world. They have so many desires, all related to Ahar, Nidra, Bhaya, and Maithu. Eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Nothing is more sophisticated. There is no difference between the romance we see in literature or in the movies and the romance which a dog has on the streets. It's the same. The desire is the basic same desire, basic raw sex desire. You may have some gourmet 5-star, 7-star French restaurant, and you will have a dog eating from the gutters. The desire is the same. The satisfaction of the desire is the same. So these are just the desires, the core desires arising out of mind and body. But dharma is meant to purify us from these desires. So dharma does not mean that I go to a temple, I bow down in front of the deities and say, "Oh deity, oh Lord, please give me a beautiful wife, please give me a nice car, get me a promotion at job." No, that's not the purpose of deities. That is available to everyone. Actually, if you study the philosophy of karma mimamsa, is it Jainini or Kannada? Jainini, I think. Yeah, karma mimamsa. So according to this philosophy, everything is preordained anyway. I mean, especially if you're coming from India, the concept of horoscope. If you read the horoscope, all this is preordained there. You are going to get what is there. And we can practically see it also. You see, like in India, we have these competitive exams. 600,000 boys apply for the Defense Academy and only 600 boys make it. So 1 in 10,000 boys actually makes it to the 1 in 1,000 boys actually makes it. So what decides this? So many people do the same kind of job. For every one single Bill Gates, there are 10,000 other IT tech graduates who eventually commit suicide, who don't make it anyway. So this is karma. This is coming from our previous births. This is preordained. So what we have done in previous lives, we do. So Chanakya Pandit says, if you want to become rich, donate your wealth. If you are poor, you're dirt poor, you have nothing in your pocket and you are very poor, give up whatever you have. And next birth you will be a millionaire. Punya. Which is good karma. You don't need to come to temple for that. Suppose you happen to meet the president of the United States. What will you ask him? If someone says, "Okay, please, here's the president." President says, "Okay, tell me." Will you ask him for a sandwich? No, I mean he can give that very much, but that's not what you're going to ask him, right? So you don't come to temple for that. Dharma means to understand who you are, your eternal position as a spirit soul. So that is dharma. But in the modern age, people go to temples, people follow dharma. So the process that is described in the Vedas is dharma, artha, kama, moksha. You do some dharma, you get some artha, some wealth. And then that wealth is used for kama, sense gratification. And when sense gratification becomes very frustrating, the wife runs away, the son dies, job goes away, my hair is lost, then I become frustrated. Then I want moksha. Enough. I don't want any more. My sons are useless. My business is burning. My body is old. No, then I want moksha. So this is moksha. This is dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So dharma leads to artha, artha leads to kama, and when kama becomes frustrating, then I want moksha. But Srimad Bhagavatam rejects this. This is complete nonsense. Because animals don't follow any dharma. But they are also happy. The birds are happy, they are singing all summer. But men are not. For all the complicated society that we create, we are not happy. But the crows are happy, the sparrows are happy, everyone is. They are not doing anything. They don't go to any engineering colleges or any medical colleges. They are happy. So, by its own way, nature provides all the needs of the living entities. The fish in the pond, the birds in the sky, everyone has according to their destiny. And so it is for human beings. The human civilization is meant to realize the Supreme God. Therefore, human civilization is called Varnashram. That is a civilized condition of life. So, yes, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha are needs of the living entity, but they are the examination. He does not go out and play all the time. He does not entertain himself all the time. No, he regulates. Okay, half an hour of entertainment and 4 hours of studies. So human society is meant to be regulated. And this is the beginning of actual human civilization. When one understands the real nature of life and one wants to realize it, that is actual dharma. So dharma, which only leads to sense gratification and frustration, is cheating religion. So Srimad Bhagavatam rejects such form of religion. So actually also, like Srila Prabhupada explains, the modern society is atheistic. Because in the previous ages, people used to go to the temples, worship the gods, and get different things. Now the technology provides everything. In the Soviet Union, the communists would go to a church, poor church in the village, and they would say, okay, to ask the Lord for bread. And the people would ask, and then they say, did you get anything? No, of course, there was nothing. And they would say, okay, now ask us for bread, and we will give you. So people became convinced, okay, so communism is good, no God will worship communism. So modern religion is like this. So if you are worshipping Lord for getting material benefits, then you don't need to worship at all. Then you don't need to worship because technology provides everything. So if you want to be treated of a disease, why come to a temple? You can go to a hospital. The doctors can do a better job. If you want a beautiful wife, why come to a temple to worship? Why worship Shiva or Krishna or anything? You can go to a nightclub. You'll find more beautiful women there. So, and that's the reason people are exactly doing that. So if you see in the more developed parts of societies, there is no religion. Church, mosques, temples, they're all going empty nowadays. People are not interested. So, so dharma is not meant to just attain sense gratification. If sense gratification is the goal, material nature provides by its own arrangement. You don't need nature. You don't need Lord for that. So Srimad Bhagavatam explains this process. In the Vedas, the above four activities are prescribed in the regulative way so that there will not be any undue competition for sense gratification. But Srimad Bhagavatam is transcendental to all these sense gratificatory activities. It is purely transcendental literature which can be understood only by the pure devotees of the Lord who are transcendental to competitive sense gratification. In the material world, there is keen competition between animal and animal, man and man, community and community, nation and nation. But the devotees of the Lord rise above such competitions. They do not compete with the materialist because they are on the path back to Godhead, where life is eternal and blissful. Such transcendentalists are non envious and pure in heart. In the material world, everyone is envious of everyone else, and therefore there is competition. But the transcendental devotees of the Lord are not only free from material envy, but they are well wishers to everyone, and they strive to establish a competitionless society with God in the center. The contemporary socialist conception of a competitionless society is artificial because in the socialist state there is competition for the post of dictator. From the point of view of the Vedas, or from the point of view of common human activities, sense gratification is the basis of material life. There are three paths mentioned in the Vedas. One involves fruitive activities to gain promotion to better planets. Another involves worshipping different demigods for promotion to the planets of the demigods. And another involves realizing the absolute truth and his impersonal feature and becoming one with him. The impersonal aspect of the absolute truth is not the highest. Above the impersonal feature is the Paramatma feature, and above this there is the personal feature of the absolute truth, or Bhagavan. Srimad Bhagavatam gives information about the absolute truth in his personal feature. It is higher than impersonalist literatures and higher than the Jnana Kand division in the Vedas. It is even higher than the Karma Kanda division and even higher than the Upasana Kanda because it recommends the worship of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. In the Karma Kanda, there is competition to reach heavenly planets for better sense gratification, And there is similar competition in the Jnana Kanda and Upasana Kanda. The Srimad Bhagavatam is superior to all of these because it aims at the supreme truth, which is the substance or the root of all categories. From Srimad Bhagavatam, one can come to know the substance as well as the categories. The substance is the absolute truth, the supreme Lord, and all emanations are relative forms of energy. Thank you. Nothing is apart from the substance, but at the same time, the energies are different from the substance. This conception is not contradictory. Srimad Bhagavatam explicitly promulgates this simultaneously one and different philosophy of Vedanta Sutra and begins with Janmadya Asya Yata Sutra. This knowledge of the energy of the Lord being simultaneously one and different from the Lord is an answer to the mental speculator's attempt to establish the energy as the absolute. When this knowledge is factually understood, one sees the conceptions of monism and dualism to be imperfect. Development of this transcendental consciousness, grounded in the conception of simultaneously one and different, leads one immediately to the stage of freedom from threefold miseries. The threefold miseries are those miseries which arise from the mind and body, those miseries inflicted by other living entities, and those miseries arising from natural catastrophes over which one has no control. Srimad Bhagavatam begins with the surrender of the devotee unto the absolute person. The devotee is fully aware that he is one with the absolute and at the same time in the eternal position of the servant of the absolute. In the material conception, one falsely thinks himself the lord of all he serves, and therefore he is always troubled by the threefold miseries of life. But as soon as one comes to know his real position as transcendental servant, he at once becomes free from all miseries. As long as the living entity is trying to master material nature, there is no possibility of his becoming the servant of the Supreme. Service to the Lord is rendered in pure consciousness of one's spiritual identity. By service, one is immediately freed from material encumbrances. Okay. Now you see, we have talked about the four activities that bring happiness: ahara, nidra, bhaya, method, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. These activities are carried out because we want to be happy. To be happy is the nature of soul itself. It is not something which is arising out of the fact that we are humans or we are Indians or Americans or something. No. Every living entity is destined to be happy. Every living entity deserves to be happy. The Vedas begin with the sutra, Athato Brahma Jigyasa, and the other sutra is this Anandamayo Bhyasa. Every living entity is trying to be happy. Bhyasa, they're trying to be happy. To be happy is the nature of the soul. In the Brihad Bhagavatam, Brahma Samhita, the verse is Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchid Ananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. The Supreme Lord is Govinda. He brings pleasure to the senses. Govinda. He is Sat Chit and Ananda. He is eternal, he is fully knowledgeable, and he is Ananda. Ananda Vigraha. His body is made of Ananda. Our body is made of maybe sugar, carbon, phosphorus, Lord knows what else. But the Lord's body, Krishna's body is made of Ananda. Bliss, pure bliss. There is no trace of anxiety or unhappiness in the body of the Lord. And Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, he's saying, Mamaya Ansha Jiva Loke Jiva Bhut Sanatana. All the living entities are my parts and parcels. So if the Baltic Sea is black in color, it is having magnesium sulfate and sodium chloride. Obviously, the Hakaniemi Bay, which is a part of Baltic Sea, will also have the same composition. It won't be sweet, it won't be yellow in color. No, because it's the same. So by extension, if Krishna is blissful, the living entity being a part and parcel of Krishna is also Ananda Vigraha. So he's also blissful. But Krishna explains further. Manashasthani Indriyani Prakriti Sthani Karshati. Because these living entities have fallen into Prakriti, into material nature, now they are not blissful. Now they are suffering. Spark of a fire, if you lit bonfires, when the fire is lit, there are sparks coming out of it. So long as the spark is in the flame, it is glowing. It is the flame itself. But as soon as it comes out of the flame, it immediately turns into grey ash. So when the living entity comes out of the Supreme, when he comes out of Krishna and comes into Prakriti, immediately he turns to ash. Immediately there is anxiety, depression, all kinds of sufferings. So actually, these sufferings are like, you can say seven types of sufferings. The fourfold sufferings of birth, old age, disease, and death. That we can see. There is we can see birth, old age, disease. Unfortunately, we're not seeing death right now. We can see all of this. So that is certainly there. And besides that, there are threefold miseries which are different. These are what we are reading right now. You know, Miseries created by our own mind, adhyatmika. Our own mind is creating so many problems. Maybe I should study more. Maybe I should go back to India. Maybe I should earn some more. All of this, adhyatmic. No one is saying anything. No one is doing anything. I am creating this myself. Adhyatmic. Adhidaivik. Other living entities are harassing. Oh, your visa is rejected. You are not eligible for this job. Or, maybe you are not qualified to be a mechanical engineer. Adhidaivik. Other living entities are creating these troubles for me. And finally, Adhidaivik. Adhibhautik and Adhidaivik. Adhibhautik, other living entities, and Adhidaivik, the material nature. Now we have no control over this thunder showers, or rain, or winters, or summers. All these are coming. So when we are in the material nature, we are suffering all of this. No one can escape it. Not even the President of America or even the demigods in heavens. Even they cannot escape these miseries. So therefore, if one wants to escape these miseries, one has to take the shelter of the Supreme. If you are drowning in water, who can save you? Person who is on a dry land, person who is on a boat. If you are drowning and I am also drowning, I can't save you and you can't save me. So someone who is already in a delivered position, he can save us. So the scriptures are advising us that we should take shelter of Krishna because he's supreme, he's beyond this nature. He's delivered. So he can only save us. So the real objective of dharma is to become free from these miseries. Ahar, nidra, bhaya, maithun may be our necessities, but by indulging in these activities, will not become free from miseries. They are just a temporary relief. If someone has cancer, there are many other symptoms. There is itching in the skin, there is pain in the muscles or something. So yes, you can take some prophylactic treatment, you can take something, but that won't help. If there is a cancer in the blood and the skin is now having eruptions, you can't apply some lotion to it. That won't work. If you treat the blood and you remove the cancer, then the symptoms will also go away. So birth, old age, disease and death, adhidhavik, adhibhautik, adhyatmic, all these miseries are also symptoms that we are in the material nature. So we have to remove the root of that disease. By indulging more and more in self gratification, we are not going to be happy. Everyone wanted to be happy. Stalin wanted to be happy. Hitler wanted to be happy. Indira Gandhi wanted to be happy. Now Modi is trying to make Indians happy. No one can do that because we are living in a material body. The disease is the body itself. You can't make a solution to this problem. You have to get out of material condition. That is the only solution to this problem. And that solution can only be surrendered to the Supreme Lord. And that is the Vedic process. So the Supreme Absolute Truth is realized in three forms. The Absolute in the impersonal form, which is Brahman, the personality of God within the heart, Paramatma, and the personality of Godhead, the Supreme Lord, Narayana, Vishnu, or Krishna. Vadanti tattva vidas tattvam yad jnanamadvayam brahmeti paramatmiti bhagavaniti shatyate. The Absolute Truth exists in three forms. So the goal of human life is to realize this Absolute Truth in any of the forms. So, for example, the Gyanis, those who study the books, those who study scriptures, they try to realize the Absolute in his impersonal form. Those who are yogis, especially Patanjali Yoga. So, for example, you have Baba Ramdev, he's Patanjali Yoga's follower. So, Patanjali Yoga followers, they try to realize the Paramatma within the heart. And those who are devotees, like us, we try to realize the personality of Godhead, Bhagavan. But all of these are categorized as transcendentalists. They are all trying to solve the root of the problem. Of these three, realizing the personality of Godhead is considered the highest by the scriptures, especially the Srimad Bhagavatam, because all the other conceptions of the Absolute Truth are very difficult to realize. The very process, the process of beginning of realization of Absolute Truth in Paramatma and in Brahman features, means taking sannyas. But bhakti can be done simply by chanting the holy names, just like we were chanting right now. However, the condition is one that one has to be pure in heart. Over and above this, Srimad Bhagavatam is a personal commentation on the Vedanta Sutra by Sri Vyasadeva. It is written in the maturity of his spiritual life through the mercy of Narada. Sri Vyasadeva is the authorized incarnation of Narayan, the personality of Godhead. Therefore, there is no question as to his authority. He is the author of all Vedic literatures, yet he recommends the study of Srimad Bhagavatam above all others. In other Puranas, there are different methods set forth by which one can worship the demigods. But in the Bhagavatam, only the Supreme Lord is mentioned. The Supreme Lord is the total body, and the demigods are the different parts of that body. Consequently, by worshipping the Supreme Lord, one does not need to worship the demigods. The Supreme Lord becomes fixed in the heart of the devotee immediately. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has recommended the Srimad Bhagavatam as the spotless Purana and distinguishes it from all other Puranas. The proper method for receiving this transcendental message is to hear it submissively. A challenging attitude cannot help one realize this transcendental message. One particular word used herein for proper guidance. This word is shushushu. One must be anxious to hear this transcendental message. The desire to sincerely hear is the first qualification. Less fortunate persons are not at all interested in hearing this Srimad Bhagavatam. The process is simple, but the application is difficult. Unfortunate people find enough time to hear idle social, political conversations, but when invited to attend the meeting of devotees to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, they suddenly become reluctant. Sometimes, professional readers of the Bhagavatam immediately plunge into the confidential topics of the pastimes of the Supreme Lord, which they seemingly interpret as the sex literature. Srimad Bhagavatam is meant to be heard from the beginning. Those who are fit to assimilate this work are mentioned in this shloka. One becomes qualified to hear Srimad Bhagavatam after many pious deeds. The intelligent person, by thoughtful discretion, can be assured by the great sage Vyasadeva that he can realize the Supreme Personality directly by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Without undergoing the different stages of realization set forth in the Vedas, one can be lifted immediately to the position of Paramahans simply by agreeing to receive this message. So, when one hears the message, so there's a verse in Chaitanya Mandrisha, Aradhyo Bhagavana Vajesha Tanaya Tad Dhama Vrindavan Ramya Kachit Upasana Vrajavadhu Vargena Kalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanamalam Prema Pumartho Mahan Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhor Matamidam Tatragara Nahara. So, the worship of the Supreme Lord in his Vrindavan should be done in the mood of the gopis of Vrindavan, that is, in the mood of total surrender. So, what is this surrender? We approach a qualified master who knows the subject matter and we ask him questions submissively by rendering service, and such a master can immediately reveal the truth to us. Like we go to the university, the professors are qualified. So and so doctor of physics. So yes, I go and I learn physics from him. Doctor of medicine, doctor of chemistry. So I go and learn and I become an expert in the subject myself. So if we want to know about the Supreme Lord, we must approach a sadhu and ask questions. The sadhu has seen the Supreme Lord in all his features, so he can reveal him to us. He can show us the path by which we can find the Supreme Lord. Tad vidhi panipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. So if one is a human being, one should approach a guru, a spiritual master, and ask questions, make inquiries, and then render service. The spiritual master can immediately reveal the absolute truth. And in this way, one can see the absolute truth oneself, and one can become qualified to get free from birth, old age, disease, and death. Actually, human life begins when one inquires into the absolute truth. Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Before this is all animal life. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to say that the society may be civilized, they have all the facilities for eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, and they follow so many rules and regulations of morality. But unless there is a desire to know the absolute truth, the society is an animal society. Manushya means one who inquires into the absolute truth. He may be an accomplished spiritual master or he may be an absolute neophyte. But unless one is inquiring into the absolute truth, one is not a human being. One is simply an animal. Dvipada Pashu, two-legged animal. So we can see there is a society of chimpanzees and gorillas. They also look like humans. Very much. In fact, orangutan is I think 99% human. It even does some things like, they can even do mathematics and even drive a car. But it's an orangutan. And you're not going to marry an orangutan, or you're not going to have a conversation with an orangutan. No, because it's an animal. You know it's an animal. But if we don't inquire into the absolute truth, we are also animals only. Very polished, very sophisticated, but animals nonetheless. Human form of life is meant to realize the absolute truth. Uttishta Jagrat Prapte Varan Nivodhata. Arise, awake, and see the great boon you have received in the form of human life. Shurasya Dhara Nishta Duratya Durgam Pathastat Kavayo Vadanti. This path is like a razor's edge. It's sharp, it's difficult path. And thus say the sages. So yes, you need an expert guidance. An expert who would guide you in this path to your liberation. Okay, so please study Srimad Bhagavatam, chant Hare Krishna. That is the process. Chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. There are many holy names, but chanting of Hare Krishna is the process of realizing the absolute truth in this age. Hare Nam, Hare Nam eva kevalam, kalau nastyev, 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 gatir anyatha. So this is what Kali Santan Upanishad says. So in this age of Kali Yuga, when there is no other process, which can be practiced, you can't go to the Himalayas to become yogis. You can't study the scriptures and realize the absolute. You can't become a renunciator. You can't even take sannyas in this age. So in this age, chanting of the holy names. Grahe Rahi Krishna Nama Nirantara Laika. So stay at home and chant the names of the Lord continuously. There is Ram, Narsinga, Vaman, Hari. There are so many forms of names. We chant the Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. These are all transcendental processes for realizing the Supreme Lord. So Srila Prabhupada, our spiritual master, gives this instruction. Get up early in the morning before the sunrise, take it, purify yourself, take bath, and chant the holy names. We chant 16 rounds. You can chant more also. We chant 16 rounds of Hare Krishna mantra, chant the holy names, study the Srimad Bhagavatam, associate with sadhus, and in this way try to purify your life. You don't have to give up your position, you don't have to give up your home, your family, your job, your education, or anything. But try to find Krishna. Because without finding Krishna, the human life is an absolute waste. It's just an animal life. And in this 8.4 million species, will eventually be lost again. The human form is given because we have done something biased in our previous births. So now we have been given this human form. And in this human form also, somehow or the other, we have found Krishna. So we should not let go of this opportunity. It's very, very rare indeed. So please take shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam, study Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, and chant the names of Krishna. And you can continue in whichever position you are, but that will be the perfection of your life. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments, please? Yes, any questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. If someone is a newcomer and have no clue about chanting, how does one go about it?
So learn it. You can learn from someone who's knowledgeable. Like when we go to the university to study, we don't know anything about the subject matter. So we ask the professor. So that's a general answer. But more specifically, first of all, one must be curious enough to know what he wants. Do we really want to advance in spiritual life? Do we really want this? And then once we have answered this question, then we should approach someone who is proficient in the process and make, pariprashnena, ask questions. What names to chant? How to chant? What is the benefit of chanting? So ask these kind of questions. This is completely alright. But one should start. So as the scriptures say, yena kena prakarena. Somehow or the other, just start. And then you can perfect it along the way. No one is born a sadhu. No one just immediately takes birth and becomes a sadhu like Shukdev Goswami. Well, everyone has to take the shelter of a spiritual master to learn the process first. So yes, go to a spiritual master. He will reveal the process to you, and then follow it there. There will not be immediate success. In fact, immediately it will be a failure. But one must practice patiently. Ado Shraddha Tata Sadhu Sangha. So first you have some faith, approach a sadhu and ask questions. Take sadhu sangha. Ask the sadhu, what has to be done? Atha bhajana kriya. Tata anartha nivritti. So yes, so first associate with sadhus, follow the process. Following the process itself will purify you. And when you become more and more pure, the knowledge is manifest. Yes, that's why we are here. That's why we have the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. We're not just here to have fun. This is very difficult. Traveling all the way from how many kilometers to come here. No, this is not just for fun. This is for education. Srila Prabhupada said that our institution is not like some temple where we just come to enjoy. No, this is an institution. We are teaching culture. We are teaching knowledge. We are teaching the process of self-realization. So Prabhupada said that all our ISKCON temples are like universities. You come here to take spiritual education. You come here, you learn, practice it in your life. Janma sarthaka kari kar paropkar. Practice this process, perfect your life, and teach it to others. So especially for those who are coming from India, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has a very specific instruction. Bharat bhumi haile manushya janma jar, janma sarthaka kari kar paropkar. If you have taken birth in the land of India, first perfect your life and then help others. Kar paropkar, help others. Perfection of life is not becoming mechanical engineer or electronics engineer or becoming a CEO of Microsoft. No, anyone can do that. Perfection of life is to realize, Tat Tvam Asi, what are you? I am spirit soul. That is perfection of life. And it's not easy. It takes a great deal of effort. So what I'm saying is theoretical knowledge. It's a long process. You have to start at some point. But if you are coming from India and you don't practice it, then it's condemnable because you have been given a very special privilege. So you have to take this process and then you have to help others. If a doctor himself like smokes cigarettes and he dies of cancer, then he'll be condemned more than an ordinary man. If a policeman commits crime, he gets a greater punishment. So if an Indian is sinful, he'll get more punishment. Hare Krishna. Yes.
Uh, what you talked about in starting,
Hmm.
you said who we are,
Hmm.
and you said like we are a spirit. And then how we know we are a spirit, and then how we can see the spirit, we can feel the spirit, or can you more clear about the spirit?
Hmm. Actually, that's the whole process. How do we know how we are spirit?
Yeah.
We are spirit that we can know. Anyone can know. We have symptoms of spirit soul. Consciousness.
Normally we feel like my name is Sorrow, that I feel like I'm a Sorrow.
Hmm.
Like everybody have identity, like everybody say I'm this, I'm this, I'm this.
Hmm.
Like how we say we are a spirit, how we say we are like spirit means Atma,
Hmm.
and then how we feel we are Atma.
I think, therefore I am. This machine, this is excellent.
Yeah.
It's what, like 100 people can hear when I'm talking. I cannot make 100 people hear me. But this machine can only do this function. This camera can broadcast my face to 1,000 people. In fact, some Indians are also in India are also watching me. I cannot put my face in India right now. But these are machines. They're just performing specific functions. I can do many things. Most importantly, I can think. I have feelings. Computer can do all the functions. Computer can even think like me? It can solve all problems, but it cannot feel anything. This feeling, this mana, this mind, this is a symptom that I am living. Now, who am I? That we do not know. That's why you see we started with a prayer. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya. I was born in the darkest of ignorance. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnanandana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmiditam Yena. My spiritual master opened my eyes with the light of knowledge. So you see, the symptoms of soul are visible. You can say this gentleman sitting next to you is alive. He's alive. You know that. But who is he? You don't really know. You have to ask him, sir, who are you? Where are you from? But before even asking, you know that he's alive. He's very much a human being. So like this, when we see life itself, we can see there is soul. Now Vedas is saying, now try to inquire into the absolute truth. Now try to inquire into spirit soul. Because spirit soul cannot be understood just like this. It is experienced by the process of purification. You have to acquire the knowledge of the soul from scriptures like Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavad. Then you will come to know what is the soul. So there is a whole process of spiritual life just to understand what soul is. But you can know you are a soul because you can feel and you know 50 years ago you didn't know who you were. 50 years later you don't know who you are. But you are alive right now. You know who you are. That is a symptom of soul. But to know this soul, that is the whole process. It may take lifetimes also.
You means like our feelings is soul. Like
That's a symptom of soul.
uh,
Like
like sometimes anybody like pinch you, then you can feel like pain.
you're feeling.
The
Yes.
feeling is pain,
Yes.
but this pain is not a soul.
No, pain is not soul. Like there is smell of prasadam right now. So there is prasad, but this is not prasad. Simply smell is not prasad. So simply pain is not soul. But there is soul, and that is perceiving thing. That is how you perceive the soul. Okay, now our time is up, I guess. And Prabhuji is asking me, so we can talk outside.
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you.